You know that moment, right? You're at a restaurant, you pick up the menu, and you find yourself stretching your arm out trying to get the words into focus. It happens to pretty much everyone. It's that first little clue that our eye's amazing built-in autofocus system is, well, changing. So today we're going to take a journey through the life of our near vision, from its absolute peak all the way to that inevitable decline that comes with age. So why does this happen? Why do so many of us end up needing reading glasses? It can feel like it happens all of a sudden, like you wake up one day and boom, you can't read the fine print. But the truth is, this change is super gradual, and it actually starts way earlier than most of us realize. Let's peel back the layers and see exactly what's going on inside our eyes. All right, so to really get what we lose as we get older, we first got to appreciate what we start with. And let me tell you, a young, healthy eye is an absolute marvel. Think of it like the most advanced autofocus camera you can imagine. It's this incredible biological engine that lets you look at a mountain in the distance and then in a split second, focus on the words right in front of you. It's just seamless. So here's the magic behind it. When you're looking at something far away, the focusing muscle in your eye is actually relaxed. It's chill. And when it's relaxed, it pulls on these tiny little fibers, which stretches out the lens and makes it flatter. But the moment you look at something up close, that muscle flexes, it contracts. And that action releases the tension on those fibers, allowing the lens, which is naturally flexible, to sort of plump up and become thicker and more powerful. It's this beautiful, elegant system. You can really think of it as this perfect three-step dance that happens in a blink. So, step 1, the ciliary muscle contracts. Step 2, that contraction immediately causes the zonules, those little fibers, to relax their pull on the lens. And step 3, the lens, now free from that tension, just naturally bulges forward, cranking up its focusing power. And the craziest part? All of this happens instantly, completely automatically. You don't even have to think about it. So check this out. 14 diopters. What is a diopter? It's just a way to measure focusing power. And 14? Well, that's the superpower of a 10-year-old's eye. It is an insane amount of focusing ability. We're talking about being able to see something in perfect, crisp focus just a couple of inches from your nose. This is our starting point. This is the peak of the mountain. And, from here, it's a slow and steady trip down. But like any high-performance engine, this one doesn't stay at peak power forever. It naturally, gradually loses some of that horsepower over the years. And this process has a name, presbyopia. And I want to be really clear about this. It's not a disease. It's not something you did wrong. It is a totally normal, universal part of getting older that happens to, well, pretty much all of us. So how do you know it's starting? Well, the signs are kind of sneaky at first. It usually kicks in somewhere between 40 and 45. Maybe you notice you need more light to read than you used to. Or you start getting these annoying little headaches after you've been on your computer for a while. And then, of course, there's the classic move, we all know it, the trombone arm, where you're constantly pushing things further away to find that one perfect spot where it's clear again. And this timeline, man, it just lays it all out. It shows you just how steady and predictable this whole process is. We start at that incredible 14 diopters when we're 10 years old. By 25, we're down to 10. And then look at this, by age 45, we're at just 4 diopters. Now, what does that actually mean? It means your closest comfortable reading distance goes from being just 3 inches from your face to almost a foot away. That is a huge, huge change, and it's exactly why our 40s are when most of us finally say, okay, fine, I need some reading glasses. Okay, so we've seen what happens, right? The autofocus gets weaker. But why does it happen? What's going on at the microscopic level that's causing this amazing engine to lose its power? Well, the answer isn't in the muscles or the nerves. It's deep inside the lens of the eye. And this is probably the most important thing to understand about presbyopia. It is a progressive loss of flexibility. It is not a loss of muscle strength. Your focusing muscle, that ciliary muscle, it stays strong your whole life. The problem isn't the engine. The engine's fine. The problem is the transmission. The lens itself just isn't as flexible and responsive as it used to be. So what makes it get so stiff? Well, there are a few things going on. Over decades and decades, the proteins inside the lens get packed tighter and tighter, and they harden up. At the same time, the little capsule, the bag that holds the lens, it loses its elasticity, kind of like an old rubber band. So even when the muscle contracts perfectly and tells the lens, hey, time to get thicker, the stiff old lens just can't respond. It can't bulge into that powerful shape anymore. All right, so that's the problem. But the good news, The really good news is that while this change is pretty much inevitable, living with blurry near vision absolutely is not. Science has come up with a whole toolkit of brilliant ways to help us compensate for that loss of flexibility and bring everything up close back into sharp focus. So let's look at the options. You've got your classic solutions, right? Simple reading glasses, or more advanced stuff like bifocals and progressives. Then there are contact lenses, which can get pretty clever with techniques like monovision, where one eye is set for distance and one for near. And for people looking for a more permanent fix, there are even surgical options. Things that can reshape your cornea or even replace your natural lens with a new, high-tech one that helps you focus up close again. But now, beyond all the lenses and the lasers, there's a whole new frontier opening up. And this is pretty cool. Imagine just using a simple eye drop once a day to help with your near vision. I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not. This is a real type of treatment that's actually available now. So how on earth does an eye drop help you focus? Well, it works using a really fascinating optical trick called meiosis. Basically, the drop temporarily makes your pupil, the little black dot in the center of your eye, smaller. Now, if you're into photography, you know this principle. When you use a smaller aperture on your camera, you get a greater depth of field, meaning more stuff is in focus from near to far. It's the exact same idea here. It's a brilliant little workaround that uses physics to give you back some of that near focus. So, as we start to wrap this up, the big takeaway is this. Presbyopia is a functional vision problem. It's not a disease. Think of it like getting gray hair or wrinkles. It's just a normal, natural part of the aging process. And the best part is, with all the great ways we have to manage it now, it absolutely does not have to slow you down one bit. And that kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. We've gotten really, really good at correcting presbyopia, at managing the symptoms after they happen. But what about the future? Could we one day figure out how to prevent it altogether? Could we find a way to keep that lens flexible in the first place? Who knows? The story of the aging eye, well, it's still being written.